everybody, so we're back talking some more Miss Marvel on the channel with the 5th episode just dropping on Disney+, the last episode before the finale. These Marvel shows, they just move so quickly. The show has been gaining some steam though, with Kamala going to Karachi, learning a bit more about her powers, while also running into the Red Daggers. The ending of the episode did have me intrigued though, because it looked like Kamala got transported back in time, so I was wondering what that was going to entail for the journey in this week's episode. While I did expect a fair amount of flashbacks in this week's episode, I didn't anticipate pretty much half of the episode being dedicated to a backstory set in the 1940s and seeing that relationship build between Kamala's great-grandparents. I'm definitely not going to be surprised when a lot of people aren't a big fan of this episode. I think it's going to have a very divisive reaction, especially because this is the penultimate episode to set up the finale next week. And I feel like this was mostly a backstory episode because we finally learned about the secrets of the bangle and Kamala's lineage. I did quite enjoy the flashback sequence where we get to see Kamala's great-grandparents meet. This week we even get a full appearance of Fawad Khan as Kamala's great-grandfather. Because if you may have missed it in the last episode, we do see him in one of the pictures that Nani shows Kamala when she's explaining everything to her. And it is intriguing how that entire speech kind of came full circle in this episode. Kind of predictable in a way as well, but it was still well done. There were at many points in this segment where it almost felt like a completely different show at something that wasn't in the MCU. Just because I was so invested in this romance between Kamala's grandparents, especially due to the fact that Fawad Khan is so absolutely charming in every scene that he's in. But seeing that romance build up between them and the relationship, I thought was pretty great with the limited time that they had in the episode. I did not also expect the emotional backstory behind the inscription that's on the bangle. Their entire segment of the episode has so many layers to it. One of them is the fact that we are talking about the partition, which is something that we as Americans don't really learn all that much about in the school system and just in general. So I do think it is great to see the MCU, Disney, whichever you want to attribute it to, set a story or at least half of an episode in that time period to give us a greater sense of what was going on in that time and the real hardships that a lot of people faced during that time period. Now, all of the stuff that involved Najma in this storyline back in the day, it felt extremely obvious where the story was going to go. She was going to be the one that actually stabbed Aisha, because she wants the bangle still. I mean, we're still dealing with that and the repercussions of that in the present day timeline, and now it's kind of come full circle with Kamala going back. I'm usually a big fan of the writing in the show, but I think you could tell from a mile away where this entire section was going to go if you just listen closely to the conversation that Nani had about everything that happened with the partition, because we do see it come full circle here after Kamala is talking to her great-grandmother and then trying to find Nani as a child that has the other bangle. Because Nani brought up that a trail of stars is what led her back to her father to get on the train, and that trail of stars ended up being from Kamala herself. So even if it was kind of obvious, I do think it was a cool full circle moment there to have that happen. But we do finally get some actual present day stuff after this because Kamala does go back. I was getting a little bit worried there. I guess maybe it's PTSD from some of the episodes of like Book of Boba Fett where the main characters just aren't in the episode. I really thought we were just going to get an entire flashback episode and then pick up for the finale with Kamala and them. I was surprised to see the veil open when we get back, and that veil does not seem as friendly as advertised because it actually kills several of the clandestine in a row. It makes you wonder if the clandestine really were all that great villains, antagonists, whatever you want to call them to begin with, because they're not really that efficient. Even killing Najma, which both of these deaths were actually kind of surprising due to the fact that we actually see skeletons and their bodies drop in that way. That was kind of surprising and a little bit kind of creepy, not gonna lie, for a Disney Plus TV series. We do see it looks like the void goes into Cameron, so it looks like Cameron is going to have powers of some sort, which does fit into the comic books because Cameron does have powers in the comics. We do see him go and talk to Bruno about this as the episode ends. When the drone flies up and blows them up, I mean, they're gonna survive. Either way, Kamala's mom finally finds out that Kamala has powers, and I love their little emotional bonding moments with the family. That's some of the best stuff about this show outside of the superhero stuff, is just seeing these bonding moments between them and Nani. That stuff is great, and it's just so charming. I just wish we had a little bit more superhero action to go along with those moments. Then we also have to bid farewell to Red Dagger as we're gonna go off to go back to New Jersey, but at least it was nice that we get a parting gift because the Red Dagger gives her the red scarf that I imagine is going to be used for her actual Ms. Marvel outfit, which we have not still seen her in the entire series. It always drives me crazy when you see films or TV like this where the character doesn't get their iconic costume until the last 20 minutes or the last scene, or in this case, the last episode. But I guess that's, what can you really do? I did think overall, this episode was decent. Like, I didn't love the episode or anything. I do feel like it's going to be a very divisive episode. I can see a lot of people just hating this episode because we didn't really push the major plots forward except for the backstories behind Kamala's powers and the bangle and all that stuff. But either way, make sure you share your thoughts down below. What did you think of the episode? Either way, did you like the episode, dislike the episode? Share any thoughts or theories you may have. We're going to go with the finale next week because we only have, one episode left. But either way, thank you guys so much for checking the reviews. I do appreciate that. Make sure to like the video. Also, subscribe to the channel. So you're always update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. For next time, I'll see you guys later.